Media blasting Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn for going rogue, talking to the Russian ambassador before President Trump was sworn in. The talk was interpreted by some senior U.S. officials as a potentially illegal signal to the Kremlin that it could expect a reprieve from sanctions that were imposed by the Obama administration to punish Russia for its alleged interference in the 2016 election. The National Security Advisor apologizing to Vice President Michael Pence for it. And this just in, the White House says President Trump is speaking to Pence about it and possibly Flynn as well.
The president is evaluating the situation. He's speaking to Vice President Pence relative to the conversation the Vice President had with General Flynn, and also speaking to various other people about what he considers the single most important subject there is, our national security.
My next guest says if we condemn Michael Flynn for this, then Jimmy Carter and Jesse Jackson should be sharing a jail cell. Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz joins me now. It's so great to have you on the show, sir. Can you explain to the viewer what you mean by Jimmy Carter and Jesse Jackson should be in a jail cell?
Jimmy Carter actually undercut American policy by advising Yasser Arafat not to accept the deal that was offered by President Clinton and Ehud Barak back in 2001. He has interfered more with American foreign policy than any other former president in history. Jesse Jackson, of course, has negotiated, sometimes successfully, sometimes unsuccessfully, release of people in foreign countries that our administration couldn't successfully negotiate the release. The Logan Act is dead letter. It's only been applied once in 1803 to some farmer who wrote a letter, but it's never been applied. So Flynn has no legal problems. His problem is whether he, in fact, misled the vice president, whether or not he had the authority of the president to have that conversation. These are kind of internal problems within the administration, but he has no legal problem to be concerned about.
You know, sir, the media is basically saying Michael Flynn interfered here at a time when there was basically the Obama administration had slapped sanctions on Russia. And then remember, Russia did not retaliate when the Obama administration had expelled Russian diplomats. And there was this period of time, why didn't that happen? And people are now thinking that it was Michael Flynn who stepped in and said, don't act, don't do anything, sit tight, we'll take care of you with the sanctions. Is that high-level interference by one guy, and now people don't trust him at all?
Well, it's high-level interference. It reminds me a little bit about what the Reagan administration did before they came into office. Obviously, Jimmy Carter was trying to get our hostages released, and there were some conversations between the Iranian mullahs and the president-elect's people, and they did not release the hostages until literally the day that President Reagan became president. And so clearly there was their interference as well. Unfortunately, for better or worse, that's become the way in which presidents-elect and former presidents do use their authority, sometimes to undercut, sometimes to strengthen, but to do things that are not presidential because they're not authorized to act as president. So these are serious issues, but they're not serious legal issues. The really serious issue is what was the content of the conversation. Are we having a foreign policy toward Russia which is too forgiving? Those are issues that are fair to be debated. There are going to be congressional hearings on that. Does this relate to the way in which Russia conducted itself in the run-up to the election? These are all fair game for congressional hearings, but I think we should take off the table any argument that what Flynn did was unlawful or in violation of a statute. It just isn't the case.
Yeah, the Logan Act, which, as you point out, has hardly been enforced or used. Let's switch gears. Once, right, since 1803. Trump advisor, this story for you. Kellyanne Conway got in trouble with basically for promoting Ivanka Trump's clothing brand. What's your take on this controversy, sir?
Well, you know, I myself, if I were a woman, I'd go out and buy Ivanka's clothing. I think it all starts with the attempt to boycott. There was a systematic attempt to boycott her products because people didn't agree with her father. That's just dead wrong. And if I had been her father, I would have done exactly what Donald Trump did. Now, whether or not his advisor should have done that on television looking like she's hawking a product, again, that's something for politicians to deal with. But to have a father come to his daughter's defense, I think it's admirable. And I support Donald Trump in this regard. Just the way Harry Truman said he would punch in the mouth a guy who wrote a bad review of his daughter. If somebody did anything to try to hurt my daughter's business, no matter what position I was in, I defend them. Look, there are enough things that are wrong with what's going on in this administration. Let's distinguish between the trivial and the significant, and this is below trivial.
Yeah, fair point. Alan Dershowitz, please come back on the show. We love having you on, sir.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.